Hello and welcome to ReTech Insights. A couple of notes for medical device manufacturers concerning the September 2020 FDA GUDID data submissions for Class 1s.
As to the timing, the FDA started off with the high-risk devices first, requiring implementation on both the label and on for the reporting of the good data to the GUDID. So Class 3s, implantables and life-supporting and life-sustaining and Class 2s are all past due. Right now we're looking forward at 2020 September timeframe for the Class 1 compliance date. And I do want to make a point, and this is universal in our discussion. There is a data flow that supports the label information, and that's well established, in place, so you're already labeling medical devices. UDI does need to be added to that particular label, and it does need to be somehow shoehorned into that particular label, and that is a problem at some point in time. The other data flow, which is on the lower row, is brand new, and this is something that has not been implemented in the past. So when UDI requires it, you'll need to create a procedure, pathway, means to collect UDI information, build the particular messaging, send it to the regulatory bodies, in this particular example, the FDA, so that you do meet the regulatory requirements. There's another example of UDI being placed on a medical device label. It happens to be the one-dimensional, showing the difference of the presentation of that data and the content when you compare that to the data attributes that need to be reported. So there's a number of attributes categorized here by the identification of the product, the labeler, regulatory information, safety information, packaging, various characteristics of the medical device, and production control attributes. All of these particular attributes need to be submitted to the FDA. And this does present somewhat of a challenge in collecting that information, make sure it's nice and clean and ready for submission. Those manufacturers of Class 1 medical devices, if you find that your Class 1 product has a good manufacturing exemption, so a GMP, I'm not referring to a 510K exception. Almost all Class 1s have the 510K exception, but a few, roughly 15–20% sort of thing, have a good manufacturing exemption. If you find that is true, you have no UDI requirements. The other very broad exception is that all Class 1 devices only need to have the device identifier portion. So the production identifier is not required to be in the UDI. And the third major note here is that in the event you distribute your product in a retail environment and make use of a UPC on your particular label, then that particular UPC identifier can be used as a device identifier and serve as the UDI. No direct marking is required for those particular devices in retail, but you still do need to make a report to the FDA's GUDID database. So keep that in mind as you look forward to your September 2020 deadline. Those manufacturers that have already submitted their portfolio and have a lot of records in the FDA, a couple words about maintenance. In the event that you have a new version or model of that particular product, you do need to publish a new record to the GUDID prior to distribution. If there's a change to the label values, then you need to, again, submit those updates to the FDA GUDID prior to distribution. If there's an attribute that is not on the label, then you have a grace period of 10 days after your distribution to make sure that the GUDID database is updated.